The period between the occupation of the Sudetenland and the spring of 1939, Germany had only one plan in case war broke out. This plan was based on the assumption that France would take the offensive and provided for strictly defensive measures on both the French and Polish borders. The main body of German troops, ready to march, was to remain in the mobilization districts pending further orders. However, at the beginning of 1939, Hitler ordered the headquarters of the three branches of the armed forces to urgently draw up a plan for an offensive against Poland, in the event that the German-Polish dispute could not be resolved by peaceful means. This plan was given the name Operation Weiss. It provided for the use of the main forces of the Army and Air Force against Poland. Hitler believed that France and England, despite the guarantees given to Poland, would not actually enter the war. These calculations of Hitler's were reinforced by the successful negotiations with Stalin on August 23 regarding a non-aggression pact. Military preparations for the invasion of Poland began in the spring of 1939. A large number of regular divisions were transferred to the eastern borders, where they began constructing field fortifications. Initially, the offensive was scheduled for August 25. However, on the eve of that day, at the very last moment, Hitler hesitated. With great difficulty, they managed to halt the advance of German troops, which had already begun moving towards the border. Unfortunately, the joy was premature. The hopes that peace could still be preserved proved futile. On August 31, the order to begin the offensive came again, and this time it was not cancelled. At 5:45 a.m. on September 1, 1939, 44 German divisions, including all of Germany's mechanized and motorized divisions, crossed the German-Polish border to destroy the armed forces of the Polish state. The Germans perceived the beginning of the war with solemnity and seriousness. Not a trace remained of that patriotic fervor which had been so characteristic of 1914. Men of military age reported silently to the recruiting stations. Hitler and Göring, evidently, also felt that the Rubicon had been crossed and the first fateful decision had been made. In his speech to the Reichstag on September 1, Hitler swore that he would return as a victor or not return at all. However, the Polish campaign began successfully. The Polish army fought bravely, but it could not be compared with the German troops in terms of armament, training, or leadership, and within 3 weeks it was completely defeated. The German-controlled western part of Poland was officially named the General Government.